All right, what's going on, y'all? It's the Let's Be Real podcast, and we got my boy here, man. Basically family at this point, but we got Joey, and so we're gonna do some football talk here. We got the season coming up to this week, and so just go through some football points with him, see his thoughts. As obviously y'all know, I'm not a football player, but I got my boy who is probably the best football player I know. So,
Chill, chill,
so
chill.
let him talk about it. So, first things I want to talk about is just Dak's contract situation, right? Like, obviously didn't get done in the offseason. As an Eagles fan, I love it because that's turmoil in Dallas, right?
Right.
And so I can't see it getting done this year, but kind of what are your thoughts on that with
Well, I
just
think
Dak?
man, I think it comes down to you signed CD earlier last week, so that kind of sets a precedent. It's like, what are we doing? Are we're committed to CD, but at the same time, we don't know what the quarterback of the future is going to be. I think either way, Dak's going to get paid, whether it's in Dallas or if he shows out this year, goes crazy, he's going to get a big payday. So we just don't know if Dallas is going to be the team to host him or if they're going to look to the future. Because I mean, after watching college football week 1, week 0, there's some dogs coming out. There's
Yeah,
a good
they
amount
got
of
some
them.
QBs.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if Jerry's kind of thinking, okay, well, we could drag this out, see who's in the Heisman race, see who's playing well in college, because there's a good amount of quarterbacks that are going to be coming out.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. My thoughts with it is, obviously you come out, Jerry comes out this all season talking about, hey, we're all in, right?
He
And
never is.
no, you get CD signed, which, like you said, you're setting. It's like, okay, we're here, we're going to
Mm-hmm.
try to win. You still got Micah looming, but like you said, Dak's going to get paid. I mean, I'm thinking he's going to get upward of 60 for this next contract, 60 a
Right.
year from somebody. So here's what I want to know: if not back in Dallas,
Mm-hmm.
where would you want him to go? If you were Dak, what teams are you looking at?
I mean, keep his ass away from the AFC East. I'm cool with that. Uh, Damn, if I was that, the Vikings don't. I'm looking at the Vikings heavily, especially if Justin Jefferson stays, and then you have a
Yeah,
good young receiver in Addison. So I mean, they got the pieces to do well. Their defense is always solid. Pretty good stability with their coaching staff. If I'm Dak, I'm looking at the Vikings offer it.
okay. Yeah, I'm thinking that I think the Vikings. I mean, if I'm Dak, yeah, I'd love to go to the Vikings.
Yeah,
But how do they feel with JJ in the building, then bringing Dak in?
I mean, you're gonna have to lose some pieces. I mean,
Yeah,
depending on what happens next year, you're gonna lose some pieces. If Dak's willing to restructure, if somebody's willing to restructure in that building, I don't know what their cap space is looking like, but just from a
mm,
player standpoint, a win now standpoint, because I know he
yeah.
wants to win, that's probably one of his best bets.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. That's actually I haven't heard the Vikings one. I've heard a lot of Raiders, Giants. You know, but if
Does
you're
he want
Dak,
the
is that
money or does he want to win?
exactly? That's my point. That was what I was going to say. Do you want the 60 million? Because at that point, I mean, if you're going to go there, I might take a 58 if the
Yeah,
Cowboys are going to give it to me and stay in Dallas.
right, dude. And we know that like they got a good coach over there in Minnesota. Um,
Yeah.
they have some good pieces, and then if you go to the Raiders, it's like okay, cool. You got Brock Bowers. I think he's going to be great, but then you got an aging Devontae, which the way he runs routes and the way that he plays the game, it's built for longevity. He takes some shots, but it's not like he's a DK, a big physical presence where
Yeah.
he's got some wear and tear on him. So he's got some good years left. And then the Giants, I mean, we watched Hard Knocks, man. That thing is run like a fucking
Yeah.
AAU team.
Clown show. Yeah. But I mean, you got neighbors there, though, and he looks good.
True.
No
But
one to throw
like
him to.
no one to throw to him, and you got 4 years and he's out of there because
Yeah.
ain't nobody
Yeah.
signing no damn extension with the Giants.
Oh, man. Back to Bringstrup. He said, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good.
Oh man, that's good. Okay, so sticking with receivers, obviously Ayuk got signed just a
Mm-hmm.
couple days ago, so 4 for 120.
Yep.
So, obviously Niners. I mean, they got to go
Loaded.
win now mode, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, loaded right now, got to stay win now. So you had to get it done.
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like for them this year and then kind of moving forward?
I mean, we've seen it a little bit in the preseason. Debo, to best use his skill set, is not an X or Z receiver. You can give him the ball in space and he can make some moves like a dynamic playmaker. But on zero, on cover one, on a two man under, I mean, unless George Kittle is making some shake one on one, you're really not going to get that. So
Yeah.
Ayuk, if you watch him run routes, it's fluid. He beats man press easy. It's really hard to lay hand. You know what he reminds me of? He reminds me of a young Devontae. The way he's
Okay.
able to get off the line of scrimmage, the way he's able
Yeah.
to fight through contact, and almost you can't press him square. It's
No.
anytime you get a hand on him, you're almost a lot of the times out of position. So I think that was a huge move for him to be able to win on third down, win on obvious passing situations. And then you got Debo, who's going to do his thing to where it's like, you can't double him because you got Kittle open. You can't double Ayuk because you're asking for it. And then you add a dynamic playmaker. I mean, not even add, you just keep having the dynamic playmaker of Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Sky's the limit for them. They just got to finish. I mean, they keep running into the Chiefs and it's their kryptonite. And you got to finish. There's nothing else. You got an offensive mastermind in Shanahan. You got a defense full of Hall of Famers. Like win some football games.
Yeah, man. And that's the thing with it too is, now with obviously you got the big cap hit with Ayuk. Like you got Purdy up next year for free agency. You got Greenlaw, Ward, Debo, Hufanga's like this is the last chance you're gonna have where you got
with this
everybody.
Yeah.
Because they're going to take some hits. And, that's the interesting thing I'm having to see with it is, obviously Purdy has been great with all those weapons. But I always look back to like Garoppolo, right? Wherever Garoppolo was like, looked great because he had all these weapons. And we've talked about it before, but I'm like, I feel like you could throw me back as QB for the Niners. Look, and you've seen,
I don't know if it goes quite that crazy.
Okay.
Yeah,
you
but
how about this?
I get it.
You could throw you back there as the quarterback for the Niners.
And I'm snapping my ACL week 1.
But man, it's just I feel like that Shanahan system, man. It's just, and then
he's got an answer for everything.
Yeah.
With Shanahan's offense, it's the thing about it is what it looks like from an outsider perspective is that whatever the defense has, there's an answer for it, and that's really good coaching, and that's what separates. A lot of the times we throw a lot of the onus on the quarterbacks and what they can and can't do. But when you drop him back and you don't have an answer for a certain protection or you don't have an answer for a certain blitz that's coming, you're going to look pedestrian. But Shanahan's built-in system where it's like if it's a lot of if-thens. So it's like you always have built-in answers for everything that's coming at you. And some of the quarterbacks don't have that in their system. You look at some of the old school Browns type of offenses where it's like we got a slant and a go, and if it's not there, good fucking luck.
Dump off,
make some shit shake. But Shanahan, you're never unless you just blow a coverage or you blow a protection. There's answers for everything in that system, and I think Brock does an amazing job at having those. You can tell he's very prepared. You can tell he makes the right reads. And does he have a Mahomes type of cannon? No. But like to be able to facilitate and run that offense takes a crazy amount of IQ and a crazy amount of preparation. And like the dude's a baller. So
that's going to be my biggest thing next year to watch for is, you start losing some of those pieces. How is he going to look? Because like I said, looks great with the Monstars on his side. But you lose one or two of those pieces, now it's okay, where you got Debo, who, again, Shanahan, I'm like, I've never seen as many receivers running butt naked down the middle of the field in my life.
Yeah, especially not in the NFL. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah, and so, you maybe lose a Debo, CMC goes down, and it's like, okay, now when you got the defense where they can key on Ayuk, key on Kittle,
what happens?
How does that work out for him? But no, look, you got to play the games with who you got on your team, and
and they got a
I
lot of good
mean,
ones.
got him to the Super Bowl and he balls with what he's got. So
Yeah, so I think it's definitely a. I'm not a Niners fan, but if I was a Niners fan, I'd feel like it's a Super Bowl or bust this year.
yeah,
You're starting to get into the realm of those dreaded '90s Bills. You go
yep,
again, and it's starting to get a little awkward. I mean, if they make it to the Super Bowl this year, and God forbid it's against the Chiefs again, that whole 2 week leading up, I'm like, ooh, if they lose, dog.
yeah. Well, and that's the thing too. Is like, look, I mean, I love Shanahan. I think he's probably a top 2-3 coach in the league.
Yeah,
But does that become a conversation where maybe he's on a hot seat now if you go to the Super Bowl again, lose again?
yeah.
That's
I
because
don't
you got
know
to
if
think
he's on
that's
a hot
three
seat.
three Super Bowls you've been to against the same team and you
Yeah.
can never beat them. You know what I mean? It's like I can't see him
Yeah.
having a bad season ever under
No.
Shanahan, as long as they aren't decimated by injuries, right? But
Yeah.
it's
We'll see. We'll see. I think
yeah,
this season's going to be. I'm excited for this season. I think this is the most excited I've been in a while. And I'm a Pats fan, so I mean, obviously, I've been excited for some seasons. But like, I think there's a lot of parity in the league. There's a good amount of storylines coming into it. So I think it's going to
yeah.
be a good ride.
No, I think this is going to be one of the most exciting seasons, just because, like you said, I mean, I feel like this now. There's just so many just players that are just dudes. You know what I mean?
The league is better when quarterbacks are playing well. I mean,
Yeah,
like back in the day when it was Tom, Peyton, Ben, Drew. I mean, let's not forget there were some games, there were some matchups where it was like we got Trent Dilfer and Vinny Testaverde going at it. Like it wasn't the amount
man,
of talent at the QB position now is just stretched
it's
so much
insane.
farther than
Yeah, it's
the core
insane.
7 that we had in the early 2000s or mid 2000s.
Yeah, no, I mean, when you even look at the league now and just those kind of mid-tier quarterbacks, right? You're thinking about maybe a Kirk Cousins, a Dak, right?
Talking about
Like
numbers.
those dudes can sling.
Mm-hmm.
They can sling the rock. So,
Yeah.
but and then kind of speaking on quarterbacks, obviously big time rookie class coming in.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, I'm guessing we're kind of going to be pretty similar with the top QB, Caleb.
Yeah.
Like I think dude's going to ball
Yeah.
instantly.
Mm-hmm. And might be the
But
best supporting cast a rookie QB has ever had.
has ever
I don't
had.
know, ever had, but they're crazy. You got
Oh
weapons
my gosh.
everywhere.
Well, yeah, and it's like, it's one thing that's I constantly hear brought up with them is, obviously he's taken number 1 overall, but that wasn't the Bears pick. Like the Bears won, 7 games last year. Like they're
Crazy
not
defense.
a normal, defense got great. And then they went out, they added, they brought in,
Montez?
what's his name? Adunze
Oh, yeah.
to out the draft. They brought in the other receiver, who
Keenan?
Keenan from the Chargers, like DeAndre Swift from the Eagles, like
Can't forget about DJ Moore.
DJ Moore's there, so it's like I don't know if
Cole Kmet was a top tight end to end the year last year. It's crazy.
So the weapons. Yeah, for a number 1 overall pick, I'd be comfortable saying I don't think any number 1 pick has had this kind of talent on the offensive side. So
not that I can remember, no.
So I mean, we're lockstep with that, but those next quarterbacks, so like kind of that next, you got the Jaden, Bo Nix, Drake May, Penix.
Yeah.
What are your kind of thoughts with them?
I think Penix got dealt a raw hand. Unfortunately, he's going to sit for a while, which he's already an older quarterback. That sucks. So I hope that I hope that when he does get to play, he shines. I was really, really high on Jaden Daniels. I'm a bit like everybody's saying he takes a lot of hits. They'll clean that up. It was a different system.
Yeah.
I think there's something to be said. I know everybody's looking for the next Josh Allen at Wyoming, but there's something to be said to playing the best talent and also performing, as opposed to where Josh Allen was just a freak athlete where you couldn't really evaluate him because he was playing in the Mountain West. Everybody's been trying to find the next Josh Allen, but there's something to be said about you play in a crazy division and you play well in that division. I'm not a
Yeah.
huge proponent, and there's been success stories. I understand it, but if I'm a GM and I have free reign to pick who I want the guy who played against the best, especially a quarterback. I want you to play the best
Yeah.
defenses and then have the best results. I'm not too, and this kind of goes into what we're going to talk about later, but I'm not too big on. He's got the it factor, the intangibles. He's got a
Yeah.
rocket. And he can't read a
Yeah.
defense and say, "I don't give a shit." Like,
Yeah.
play the best comp and put up numbers.
No. So kind of on that was always my thing with, and I mean, I feel like it might even be split on whether I was right or not about it, but Carson Wentz, right? Coming out of a smaller school, I'm like, it's hard to evaluate, when you're playing these smaller schools, like these mid D1 level schools where it's like, okay, but you're going to play NFL teams now every week. Like, I
Exactly.
know what a guy from LSU has played against. Like, he's playing against the
Pros.
SEC. Yeah, guys who are going to be in the league.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, I like Jaden. I think my only worry with him is the injury factor. 210 running QB, like that
Yeah.
kind of scares me a little bit. But no, I think he's a baller. I think him and Caleb are really going to be neck and neck as far as who's going to win that offensive rookie of the year.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're going to give our picks on that later, but
yeah,
I
in
think
the league picks, I mean, I'm
yeah,
not a big conspiracy theorist, but the league is trying to sell jerseys and sell tickets, so I think there might be a
yep,
little bit of bias there when it comes to the rookie of the year vote.
yeah, absolutely.
But I love Jaden's tape. Even at ASU, he showed
Yeah,
flashes of brilliance, but then it's hard to evaluate because we don't know who he's playing against. And then
yeah,
back on the Carson Wentz topic, dude balled out up until that a couple of injuries. So it's like
yeah,
it was hard to really evaluate because he came in and we thought that he was going to be the next dude, and then injuries derailed him. And I honestly don't know I don't know. I have no idea what happened.
yeah.
After that. Couldn't tell you.
Yeah. Wentz is a tough, but like my thing with Wentz is, and I've said it before. I'm like, I've never seen a player where he makes a 45-yard dart look easy, but a 5-yard out route look difficult.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's.
I will say with that much speed and you're throwing 5 yard, 10 yards out, it can be a little,
Yeah.
It can be a little shaky. But Wentz would do something. I'd watch Wentz play, and the same drive. You're like, dude, what kind of that was crazy. The next play, you're like, have you ever played
what
football
are you doing,
before?
man? Yeah,
What type of read
exactly.
was that?
So yeah, no, I think Caleb, Jaden are going to be a monster, and then my kind of one that I want to see how they do, but Bo Nix, I think with Sean Payton in Denver, I think he's going to be that one that fools you. Like everyone's going to be like, oh man, he might be really good because Sean Payton's just going to be dialing it up for him.
Yeah.
So I think he might have kind of inflated numbers, but that's the one that kind of intrigues me as far as like, what's he really going to be?
Potentially. I think the system that he came from at Oregon is going to be so much different than the Sean Payton system. I don't know historically, Historically, he didn't give, or he doesn't give, a ton of freedom to his quarterbacks. I've heard in the past he's a run the play how I call it kind of guy, and I'm not too sure. Maybe Oregon was the same way, so I'm interested to see how that plays out from like for Bo Nix, where it's like Peyton's gonna come in and be like, I need XYZ run. It kind of reminds me of like a Bill Walsh, like 1, 2, 3 step drop, fire it in there. You know where it's gonna be because we repped it a million times. So I'm interested to see how that goes. But it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah. It's going to be a dynamic because I think that was one of the big things with like Russ in Denver, right? Was that's not Russ's game. Russ isn't a like, hey, I'm you're going to take a 3-step drop and then I'm going to need you to put it right here.
Yeah.
Like he's going to be open,
magician.
just throw it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think that was kind of the dynamic difference between him and Sean. So like you said, I'm kind of interested to see how Bo kind of works with that.
For sure. But he's a stud too. I mean, watching him in college, he was crazy. I mean, he feels like he was in college for 28 years, but dude can ball.
Well, yeah, him and Penix are about 30 coming into the draft. So
yeah, crazy, dog. Poor Penix.
Man, I feel bad for him. I loved him going like the Atlanta. If they hadn't signed Kirk, I would have loved the pick.
Yeah.
But I'm like, He's going to be 28 before he takes a snap.
Yeah, man. I was when they drafted him, I was like, oh my god, are you kidding me? I felt bad living up here in
Yeah.
Seattle. I got to watch Penix a lot last
Yeah.
year. I mean, some of the throws he was making. I went to what games did I go to? I forgot what games I went to, but dude was putting it in some crazy spots with some crazy anticipation, and that's what I really appreciate. Is like kind of derail a little bit. I wish that the NFL in college would switch camera angles a little bit to see an all 22 or at least a behind the quarterback view to see, because there's a lot of things that happen between the snap of the ball and a throw to where I don't know if the average viewer can see. They'll see a bad ball and they're like, oh, the quarterback sucks. And if you really got a chance to see the all 22 or the downfield progression, some of the coverage that they roll into, you'd be able to understand a little bit more like, you got fooled.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's tough too because, I feel like for a normal, just everyday fan, right? Like they don't know what to look for. It's the same with like basketball, right? Like for me, like I know what to look for on a court where it's like, you might have a guy throw a pass that goes out of bounds. And like you said, they're like, oh my God, why are you throwing that pass? But, then you get the other angle where you see the guy, I'm like, why didn't you cut there? Yeah, like, why didn't you cut?
Exactly. Dude, the NFL, football is the same freaking way where it's like, you see a cornerback kind of get blown by, and the average fan's like, oh, the cornerback sucks, and it's a cover two.
Yeah, he's like, I thought I had help over the top.
Right. Like, what are we doing? I'm playing the flats.
Yeah. Oh, man. All right. So kind of switching gears here. Obviously, NFL instituted the new kickoff rule this year. So I know you've returned a few kicks in your life. So want you to kind of give an overview of, because obviously me, like I ain't played football except for a little bit of practices where, I locked you up as a DB.
Yeah, we haven't talked about that because that was brutal what you did to me. We're gonna call PI all over the place.
I don't know. I don't think the ref saw that one. But yeah. So just as somebody who's done kick returns, obviously with the new rule, it's you have the catch zone where no one can move until the ball either is caught or hits the ground. Yeah. You got the catch zone. So kind of as a kick returner, how does that kind of play into either good for a kick returner, bad for a kick returner? Just kind of what are your thoughts with that?
For me, I mean, anytime where you get a chance to have that play matter. I don't know the statistics on it last year, but some crazy statistic where most kicks weren't even returned or even attempted to return. So I think the people who do return kicks in the league feel a little bit more of a job security. Like it matters a little bit more. I mean, you even saw it a little bit yesterday with some of the LSU USC stuff. That penalty on that touchdown that gave Zachariah Branch an opportunity to return a kick. I mean, dude, anytime he touches the ball, and there's some guys in the league like that. So I think overall it just adds a level of excitement to where it's like, hey, maybe I won't go get a beer or something while the kickoff's happening.
Yeah.
As far as the schemes around it, I think we're going to see a lot of changes, let's say midway through the season where there's film on the kickoffs. A lot of the special teams coordinators have a chance to like scheme around it. For me, when I watched it a little bit with the XFL, and there weren't too many returns, but every play is exciting because it's like you're going to get a return. And I think that for me, it's more like, I'd say it's more like a run of anything, like a standard run play where you can't move until the returner catches it, and then the impact is within, I don't know what, five yards.
Yeah, 5 or 10 yards, I think is what it has to be. Yeah,
nobody's blocking for longer than a second or a second and a half. So by the time you get to the line to where everybody is, most blocks are shedded by then.
Yeah.
So, unless you have
you got to make some people miss.
Yeah, you're making people miss, or you got to find a crease and go. From a safety standpoint, I mean, it's safer for everybody not returning, but the returner still has the same. I mean, you're still flying 20 yards, and they're meeting you. But I think that if it was me, I thought about this a lot actually. I'm putting every lineman I have on roster is getting there. And maybe some special team coaches are already thinking about that, but I'm putting my second, third string running back there, and I'm putting every lineman and big tight end I got, and we're trying to make some shit shake. I don't know the rules on like converging. If you
Yeah.
get a kick return right, and then the left side isn't really doing anything, can I get my left side lineman to kind of wall off that left side and you make a shot to the right? These are all things that special team
Yeah.
coordinators are thinking about. So I think it just adds another layer to the game. And once these coordinators get a chance to really scheme around this, I think you're going to see some cool stuff.
Yeah, and it's funny you had mentioned the lineman, because that was going to be one of my things I was going to ask you is like, I wonder if you are going to see, linemen out there on the kick return, which would look
Yeah.
ridiculous and hilarious. But it's one of those things where, like you're saying, like, I feel like for me at least, it's like, obviously it adds the excitement to the game, right? Where you're going to get more kick returns.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever you have the return coming out, there's always going to be that little bit of like, I wonder if he's going to bring it back.
Right.
And so I love the excitement around it. But I also think, just schematically, like you're saying, I think those teams who have like top end special teams coordinators, like coaches, like they're gonna
this crazy stuff.
you're gonna see some insane stuff that like gives them a clear advantage.
Yeah, you're gonna see. I mean, you're gonna see. I'm treating it like it's like it's zone or power run. I'm pulling
linemen
guards. Yeah, we're sealing an edge and we're pulling. It would get real nasty. And you know what's crazy? In Madden, the Madden that just dropped, they have like your regular returns, and then they have heavy returns where your linemen are in anyway. So I'm like, if Madden's thinking about it, I would be shocked if coordinators aren't.
Yeah, well, I mean, shoot, if they're not, let's go ahead and we'll send this pod into some teams, see if we can get you a special teams job.
Yeah, man. We'll see me on the sideline coordinating shit.
Oh, man. All right. And so, obviously, one of the biggest storylines coming into this year, Chiefs, obviously back-to-back champs, going for the three-peat. I mean, reloaded their offense. Look, man, they look scary now. They always look scary, because I feel like anytime you got Pat Mahomes under center, you look scary.
You got a shot.
But I mean, with the receiving core they had last year, and then winning a Super Bowl with that, I mean, now you bring in Hollywood, you bring in Xavier Worthy, like Rashee Rice now is kind of established in it. You still got Kelsey. Yeah, like, man, it's hard for me to see, outside of like an injury, right, them like not three-peating, which is crazy because we've never seen that before.
Mm-hmm.
And so what are some reasons why? Give me some why nots. Like, why are they going to three-peat? Why won't they three-peat?
Well, I mean, the whys. I mean, anytime you got Andy Reid, the most creative play caller in the history of the game, and then you have Patrick Mahomes, the most creative quarterback in the history of the game, and you got Travis Kelce, probably the most creative tight end to ever play the game. They're always going to have some. They're always going to be able to play in games. I think that. Mm-hmm. I mean, like you hit the nail on the head. You get some speedsters. Xavier Worthy. If you look at their preseason, they were targeting Xavier Worthy heavy. If that's any indication on some things that you're going to see this year, he's going to be a huge piece of that offense. And the way that they can scheme up, they could probably scheme up some single coverage, get him out in motion in space, get him the ball. It's gonna be a NASCAR speed type of ordeal going on.
Yeah.
Why they potentially, and the flip side of that, why they wouldn't. AFC is nice.
Man,
the
loaded.
AFC is nice. Like, and it's not you're not a best of 7 series in the playoffs. It's any given Sunday, anybody could lose. Ask the Ravens every time they get into the playoffs. It's oh, my bad, Lamar. That was foul. That's my bad.
Oh, that's what it is, though.
It is what it is. And let's not forget, Joe Burrow's got a full season of health, and who's the only dude who's given the Chiefs work like that? It's Joe.
And but I mean, put a pin in it real quick. But Joe has got like this wrist injury now.
I'm not worried about it.
Really?
I'm not super worried about it.
Okay. Typically I'm not like a preseason injury. I'm kind of whatever. Mm-hmm. But the fact that like it's come out like no QB's had this injury and he can't throw the ball 3 straight days. I'm like,
Yeah.
that kind of
Yeah.
like, I'm like,
maybe wishful thinking. I'm saying I'm not worried about it, but
no, like you said, I think AFC is, like you said, it's loaded.
Loaded.
Burrow, and that's another team, the Bengals, right? Where it's like, you probably lose Higgins this year. Jamar, he's still not done. Like, and you got that contract going. Like, that's another team where it's like, this might be the year where it's like, you got to make it happen.
Yeah, no, I agree. And another team that's a dark horse, and I was talking about this last year. My barber is a huge Dolphins fan because his nephew has been playing for the Dolphins for the last couple of years. He just got released, but I was telling him when the Dolphins they had that strong start to the year, and I was like, if the Dolphins can somehow get a 1 or 2 seed and get home field throughout, it's a different football team when they play at home in that environment with that weather. You got all those Olympic athletes running routes.
Yeah,
if they can get home field playoff games, they're a scary team.
Nah, man, yeah,
we'll see.
No, I mean I've never seen a team when it's over 70 degrees look so dominant, and under 70 degrees look like they should be a bottom seed.
Yeah. Yeah, it's bad. And I mean, we all saw the stats because they were playing it up on every outlet ever, where it was like, when it's a little cold, Dolphins can't
a brisk breeze.
Yeah, Dolphins can't figure it out. But they're a scary, scary team if they get it all clicking. And
and
I mean, we'll see.
And this might be the year for them too. I mean, you got, the Bills kind of half rebuilding. Like they lost a ton of pieces on defense, lose Stephon. Like, we don't know what they're looking like. The AFC East is pretty open, I think, at least for everybody except your squad. But
yeah, man, it's tough.
Just trying to figure it out over there, man.
Yeah, man. Listen. Watch it. I got a chance to watch every single Super Bowl that we were in, except for the 85 one.
Mm-hmm.
I can't, if we never win a Super Bowl again, I can't ever be upset. I watched them all, like even the ones that we lost were still an event for me.
Yeah, you got more Super Bowls than most fans are going to get in their lifetime in the next 50 years, 60 years. You got to see in 20 years of life.
Bro, and I know Patriots fans, I get it. I get that Patriots fans are probably one of the most obnoxious, selfish, self-centered, woe is me, but when it's good, it's great. We're better than you. I get it. But I'm not one of those.
No, I can attest. You've always been pretty, like you said, like you're like, look, the amount of Super Bowls we've won, and I've got to see win and just in.
I'm just happy to be there, man. Are you kidding?
Yeah, man. You're not like a lot of us where you're like, God, man, come on, we got one shot. This is the year.
Man, I get it, dude. Who was a Denzel, the Ravens fan back in the day? Oh my God, the amount of posts I saw from Denzel when they won the championship that one time, I'm like, dude.
Yeah, you're like, man, is that what it feels like?
I'm like, geez, man. But no, I'm cool. We can put a pin in that, but I'm excited for what the Patriots are trying to do and trying to change. So I'm cool with it.
Okay. So going back to the Chiefs here, obviously because this kind of plays in with your team, right? Chiefs get a 3-peat.
You're talking about the GOAT?
Man, I'm just saying.
Listen,
what do you think?
I like dominance. I like excellence. So if they 3-peat, I mean, again, I have to watch it. Like, that was sick.
Yeah. Look,
if there's one quarterback in the league right now that can do it, it's him. I mean, he's got complete control of this offense. He knows the system in and out. He knows his players. Their defense is good. They have a chance to do it. I think that they went last year, and the whole narrative was, oh, they never went on the road in the playoffs. Go ahead and take care of the Bills. It's up to them, Can they have the mental focus to make it happen?
Yeah, and that's the one thing I'll say is, like, I feel like with a lot of teams who win a chip, or even lose in the Super Bowl or championships, right? You always see that kind of like the next year it's a little disappointing because it's like, you put everything into last year and it's easy to kind of lose focus. This is, I mean, between Mahomes, Andy Reid, like you said, between both of them alone, even Kelsey, like I can't see them losing focus,
Yeah.
which is one of those things where I'm like, it's hard for me to see a world where they don't win it this year outside of like a freak injury, right?
Yeah, and if there's like for some reason their division turns into what we thought it was going to be a few years ago, then maybe because that
Yeah,
division has a chance to be difficult.
it could be a
It's
gauntlet.
just been
Yeah,
underwhelming the last few years. So if they turn it around, that whole division, yeah, it's gonna be kind of a hell task for them. But they've been underwhelming for the last couple of years. So who knows?
yeah, no, absolutely. And so I mean, so they get the three-peat. I mean, you got, like I said, you got Mahomes, Brady there. I mean, obviously Brady's got the chips, right? He's
Yeah,
done. Cement is dry. You got Mahomes doing something no one's ever done before,
he
and it's
instantly
like
goes to number two.
exactly. I think at minimum he's number 2 at that point.
Yeah,
But then I also got to look at the coaches, right? Reed
Andy.
and Belichick, like that's a discussion now.
It is. It is. But then we also, it's like a longevity thing because
Yeah,
before the Chiefs, Andy Reid was the choke artist. He went to how many
true.
NFC championships in a row with the Eagles?
With the Eagles, yeah, no, I know
It's
them. I
it's
know them
like if the
well.
Bills were to turn it around and all of a sudden win 6 chips after they lost 4.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think he's a great coach, and I also think that the situation and the circumstance of getting Patrick Mahomes, who just so happened to be almost the best fit for
fit.
that type
Yeah,
of style. I mean, hell of a coach. And Bill Belichick, I'm not gonna sit there and say he was perfect. Dude got fired on the Browns. So like let's
yeah.
and I
Well,
get that
that's
he was a defensive coordinator for the Giants, but Lawrence
he's a
Taylor.
DC.
So like
Yeah, yeah.
I get it.
Well, that's the thing is it's like and it's hard because obviously both of them in their own rights, like Andy Reid might be the greatest offensive coach we've ever seen. Bill
Yeah.
might be the greatest defensive coach we've ever seen.
Except for when you bench Malcolm Butler in the Super Bowl because of I don't know why. And then
Well,
Nick Foles throws for 72
500
miles on you.
yards.
Yeah.
Man, but like it's like that's the discussion. I think like more. I don't think the Mahomes Brady thing. I think it'll get attraction for a little bit,
Yeah.
But I think that Reed kind of Belichick discussion. I think that's wide open, especially because like last time we saw Bill
He was getting
wasn't great
clapped.
the last couple of years.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
like
Dude looked
and
lost
elite
out
like
there.
yeah, and with Reed, it's like even though like obviously he had his issues deep in the playoffs, it didn't matter what quarterback you gave him. They had they're some of their best years, right? Like when you look at McNabb, Vic, um, before Mahomes, they had what's his name, the journeyman QB
Alex
in
Smith?
Kansas, Alex Smith. Like
Yeah.
it's just he makes them all look amazing,
Mm-hmm.
and so. But then Bill, like I said, flip side of the coin is dude, Bill's probably made some defenses that should have been like
Yeah.
15th, 16th ranked,
Go
top 5,
crazy.
top 6. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's I think is going to be the most interesting one.
Yeah. I completely agree. And I mean, we'll see. 3P is a long way away. We
Oh
got
yeah, we got a whole
a
season.
lot of football to go. Watch. Well, the narrative will change. Watch the Chiefs go 2-2 or 3-5, and all of a sudden we're like burn the house down.
Yeah, well, it's
We'll
going to be
see.
the only thing with that is because I think that will happen, but I think we look at last year, right, when the Chiefs came out, looked bad to start the season, looked bad really the whole season,
Yeah.
and
Squeaking
then
out
somehow,
wins.
yeah, squeaked out wins, looked bad all year, and then we see him in the Super Bowl again, and it's like, so I feel like, I mean, barring like an 0-6 start. I
Yeah,
feel
they're
like you'll
gonna
have
be
a
in
little
there.
bit of the panic, but I feel like people also be like, yeah, we saw this last year. Like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah. We'll see.
So, but okay, sticking with like, looking out to the end of the year, kind of give us some predictions here. So I want you to give me MVP. We'll go offensive rookie of the year and coach of the year to start. Who you see taking what? And give me the reasoning with it.
I think it might be a hot take. I'm going to go coach of the year first. I
Okay.
think the Texans go crazy.
Wow. Okay.
And who's the coach? D'Amico Ryans.
D'Amico.
I
Yeah.
think D'Amico wins Coach of the Year because the Texans go crazy.
Okay.
I think you say Rookie of the Year. I mean, Caleb.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
MVP. I'm really torn. You know who I think is a dark horse, and this is going to sound stupid, and I'm probably going to get shit on for this. Tua Tagovailoa.
Part of it,
I think he's in
man.
the mix. I think he's in the
Okay.
mix because
You know what? Not a hot take. He was in there last year.
he was, and I think that he goes. I think he goes crazy enough. I think he put in a lot of work in the offseason. He's another year under that offense.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to start. I think they're going to start hot because they always do because the weather's nice.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to make a lot of noise. But I do think that ultimately the MVP comes down to like Lamar and Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
Again,
Okay. All right. Yeah. No. I mean, like I said, I think Tua is a solid choice just because. Yeah. I mean, I
he's
honestly,
going
and
to
you
get his
know,
numbers.
yeah, exactly. That offense is just crazy. Mike McDaniel's crazy. He's another guy where it's like just this. He schemes up just
Mm-hmm.
butt naked receivers down the field, and you're like, I don't know why Tyreek Hill is got no
Yeah,
one
well,
within 15 yards of him. Like it's Tyreek Hill.
yeah,
But so speaking of Tyreek Hill, if we're gonna go dark horse MVP,
you
that's
think he
mine.
makes it?
Ty. I think he gets that 2,000 yards receiving.
If he gets 2,000, yeah, he's the MVP.
It's
Are you
locked.
kidding?
I mean, he was on pace last year. Like,
Yeah.
and if Tua goes crazy, I think a lot of that is going to be a
Yeah.
beneficiary of Tyreek. So,
Yeah, that's not ridiculous to say that. It's not
so
ridiculous to say
like I
that.
said, dark horse. I
Mm-hmm.
think the actual MVP, I'll probably go with, and this one I think is going to be a little different because of how much he lost this offseason. I'm going Josh Allen.
Really? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Love a good
because
comeback story.
well, I'm no Josh Allen fan. Like,
Oh, I know.
like I'm not rooting for the Bills, but I think because of kind of it goes back to what we talked about, right, with the Rookie of the Year. Like you always have like the narrative around it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So coming into the season, the whole narrative is, oh man, he lost his best receiver,
Mm-hmm.
defense lost all these pieces, the captains, and so I think of Josh Allen because what's their offense going to be? It's going to be Josh Allen.
It's got to
Like
be
they're going to
him,
go
yeah.
with him, and like they got no number one receiver that we know of. So I think if they go out, win 10 games, 11 games, win the AFC East,
Yeah, he's
I
in the
think
conversation for sure.
I think he's just his numbers are also going to be ridiculous between passing and rushing.
But let's flip it though. If
Mm-hmm.
he has a normal season, what's their
Ooh,
record?
oh, if he has a normal season, they're a 9-win team, I think.
Yeah, then they
Yeah,
benefit from a weak division.
yeah. I mean, because you're going to get 2 wins off the Pats. You're going to get, and I would say you probably split with Miami and New York if
Jets.
you're lucky. I would say you definitely split with the Jets. Miami might be the one where I'm like,
Is that another? Is that another MVP preseason? A Rod, maybe.
man, I know everybody's up on the Jets. I'm not. I think
Why
like,
not?
bro, because I look at Rodgers, right, and the last time I saw Rodgers play, like it didn't look great
That's true.
in Green Bay, right, that last year. And I know like the big thing that everyone is like, oh well, like but you look at him this offseason, he's been like engaged. He was at OTAs,
Yeah, I don't care about
like he
engagement.
wants to win it, and I'm like, man, like so he didn't want to win in Green Bay, like. I'm an athlete. I know
Right.
how it works. I don't care what situation I'm in. I'm trying to win. Like I'm trying to ball. Like,
Yeah.
like you're never gonna. So like, I just think. I mean, the weapons are good. I mean, obviously Garrett is like insane. Number
Mm-hmm.
one receiver, like solid. The rest of their offense, like Brees is solid. I like Brees, but they bring in Mike Williams, who I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, he's good for 12 games. You bring in the O lineman from Dallas, Tyron Smith, Tyron
Smith.
Smith.
Oh yeah, Tyron Smith. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, again, like he was great, old, injury
Yeah. We'll
prone.
see.
So I'm like, so how does the O line hold up? And then they got this whole Hassan Reddick thing where They lose their best pass rusher.
That blows
Trade a
my
pick for
mind.
Hassan Reddick,
And
and
don't
he's
want to
not
do a
coming.
new deal. What are we doing? You knew what it was when you traded for him. He's
Like, part of
stupid
me gets
idiots.
it. Like, like, because who is the one who Njoku, no, not the your guy from the Pets who just went to Atlanta,
Judon?
Judon,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, he gets to Atlanta and he said, yeah, no, they don't know me here. Like, I'm gonna prove that I'm worth a new contract, kind of thing. Like, I get it. Like, that happens, but also, like, you trade a pick for him, like, you also should be willing to, like, if he doesn't want the contract right
Right.
away, like, if you can get away with it, great. But if he's
That's a
like, no, I still
conversation.
want the
That's a
deal
conversation you guys need to have before
before the
anything.
trade.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what are we talking about?
exactly.
Talk about that.
And it's just the Jets. Like, that's the biggest thing why I can't believe in Rodgers and the Jets, is because, like, stuff like that. They're the Jets. Like,
Yeah, it's just weirdly run. Like, have
yeah,
the
they're
conversation.
just
You just blindly traded for. And mind you, I don't know anything about the GM workings. Like, I don't know if there's
yeah.
stipulations between communication and the trade and whatnot. But that,
Well,
I don't
from
know.
my understanding, you can put stipulations on it. Like, but they didn't. They didn't protect anything. It was just a straight up trade. So it's like they're
Yeah,
just out. And I'm
yeah,
like, as an Eagles fan, I'm like, sweet. Like, so we lost him. We didn't have to pay him. Replaced him, and yeah, we got a pick.
right,
So it's
yeah,
like, I like it. But yeah, no, the Jet. I mean, it's just, and another thing, man. You try to fire or not even fire, but you're like, your OC. You got Nat Hackett there. You try to, like, hire somebody to be an OC as, like, not in name, so Nat Hackett can keep, like, the title but not call the plays.
yeah. I
But
don't,
now you failed with that, so he's back to calling the plays. Like, it's
true.
just a weird. It's the Jets. That's all I
It's the
can really
Jets.
say. So
I
it's
get
like,
it. I get it.
that's the one where I'm like, that's why I can't believe in Rodgers for the MVP, and, like, or the Jets really, period. Which is why I think Josh might have a solid MVP, like, better than people think year.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah, rookie of the year, obviously, I think that one's, yeah, we're in
Yeah,
lock there. Caleb, dude, like we talked about earlier, he's gonna be crazy.
yeah, man.
Coach of the year is the one. I like your D'Amico pick. That was one of the ones that I had,
Mm.
and so
Wait, did he win it last year?
D'Amico, he might have
Hold on, man. Let me check that
that.
out.
Yeah, we might need to look that one up. But
Oh, it's what? No, tripping.
who was it?
Nah, is this last year? Saying Kevin Stefanski.
Let's see.
What the hell did I
Hope
just
that's.
Google?
Yeah, I got Stefanski too, man. I guess Kevin Stefanski won it. So there's
all
that.
right.
You know what? He did win it because the Browns had a crazy year and Deshaun Watson was, what
My
he is
bad,
now.
Kevin.
But no, I think so. This is actually, I'm gonna hold off on my coach of the year because it's gonna tie into one of my crazier picks that I have in one of the other predictions.
Okay, okay.
So I'm gonna hold off on that, but let's talk about Super Bowl predictions. Who you got?
Oh man, I got the Chiefs making it again, and I got the Eagles.
Okay, so
I think
Chiefs
the
Eagles
Eagles.
again.
I think Chiefs Eagles make it happen again. There's
Okay,
something about that matchup that just makes it just feels unfinished, even though it was
yeah,
finished.
yep.
I need to see it again, and I do think if the Eagles lose, everybody takes a real hard look at Hurts.
Oh man, so that is that's one of the things that worry as an Eagles fan. That's one of the things that I've been worried about this whole offseason is just because but I'm same thought but different person. And I think we've talked about it. I am not a fan of Sirianni,
And
but
apparently, not a lot of people are.
yeah, I mean, yeah, Hurts included. But
Yeah,
so, but no, I think that's the one where I think he might be gone mid-season if they're not looking great.
Oh, you think? You think they
Yeah.
just pull plug like that?
Yeah, no, I think if they start a little slower, because the way last year ended was embarrassing.
Kind of abysmal.
Yeah. So it's just
Oh,
I think they get rid of him quickly and pivot. It's also why I think they brought in Kellen Moore as the OC, because I think he's kind of like
because that end
the
of the
backup.
game play where you got that fumble Rooski to Zeke Elliott.
Yeah.
I saw
Look,
something in that.
yeah, no, I'm not a fan of Kellen Moore either. I've talked about that where I'm like, I think anytime you go from everybody was high on him with Dallas, and I mean, he was getting head coaching consideration when he was in Dallas, right? You go to the Chargers, and Herbert has his worst year, and the Cowboys are the best offense in the league.
Yeah, it's
And
like
then you get fired from the Chargers. I'm like, but it's the only thing I can think of is why we bring in Kellen Moore is like maybe they're like looking back at those like good Dallas years he had, and they were like, it was definitely him,
Is he
and he
calling
can be that
plays?
backup head coach. Yeah.
Okay, we'll see.
Yeah. And that's the thing is it's like, if you're Sirianni, what's your value, right? Like you're not calling the plays anymore. So
You used to be a locker room guy, and apparently it's coming out that
and now, yeah, your quarterback doesn't like you. Like y'all can be in the same room together. Like,
yeah.
so I think he could be, but despite all that, my pick for the Super Bowl is also Chiefs Eagles.
I mean, it makes
More
sense.
so because I just don't see a team in the NFC that I'm like truly believe in.
Yeah, who? I mean, except for the Niners, but
Yeah, but I think the Niners, I think they get hit with injuries this year. I think CMC goes down.
don't say that.
I know I hate to say it. I hate to say
No.
it. But I saw a stat that said so the last year he had over 400 carries.
Yeah.
Regular season playoffs. Year before that he had over 300. The last time that happened was when he was in Carolina, and the next year he got hurt. And I'm like,
man, I hope he
that's a
doesn't,
lot of touches.
Yeah, it's a lot of touches, and oh no, I hope not, because if they're healthy, that's like the matchup to go to the ship.
Yeah, no, I think if they're healthy, if you could guarantee me health for the year, I would go Niners Chiefs.
Yeah. And
But
I'm not. If we get Niners Chiefs, I'm pissed. I'm done with the Cavs and the Warriors. I hated that. Everybody in the 2016 was so fun. I hated that. Hated it. And this is probably hypocrite for the Patriots, but it was so nasty to watch, and I don't want to see it no more. I didn't want to see it last year.
So here's the funny thing with like, because you bring up the Cavs Warriors, is like I didn't mind those matchups pre-KD.
Oh, dude, we knew what it was.
Because I felt like I'm like either team, like I could see winning once KD went to the Warriors, right? Like, so that's even with the Niners. Like, if they get back with the Chiefs, I don't mind it because I'm like, yeah, they've lost twice to the Chiefs, but I mean,
they're right
we were
there
in overtime last year. Yeah, like they're right there. One play goes a different way, and we're talking a whole different story now. So, but yeah, no, I like it. Like I said, if I could guarantee health, I would go Niners. I think they're going to have some injury bugs this year, and so that's why I'm going Eagles.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess we'll kind of see what happens with that. But give me and I don't think I gave this one to you, so this is going to be off cuff.
Okay.
So last year we saw, Texans worst to first. Right. Who's your team this year worst to first?
Oh my God.
It's not like this is gonna happen, but like if maybe like if a couple of these things fall this way, I could see them in.
Man, let me see who was worse last year though.
Okay.
Who was nasty? It's definitely not the Pats. They're going to be worst to worst.
Yes, it's staying where they're at.
Yeah, they're going to be chilling. Well, okay, so this division is absolutely donkey ass. So I can see them making a play here. I can see the Panthers finishing 9-8 and winning the
Wow.
division
And winning it?
because the
Okay.
NFC South is poop.
Trash. Yeah, it's
Just
terrible.
nasty work. It's bad TV, but I'll watch all football, and I want Mike Evans to hit his 1,000 yards every year. But other than that, I could see the Panthers making a splash.
Okay.
Arizona.
Really? In the NFC West?
Not winning the division, but
Okay. But
they're
like
fighting.
playoffs?
Yeah, because the 49ers won the division at 12-5, right?
Yeah.
Cardinals go 4-13. I mean, their point differential wasn't like horrible. I mean, like it wasn't as bad as the Panthers. So you add Marv, Kyler's on this journey of redemption. There's a chance where things go well. The Commanders, they ended 4-13, but I see them ended in 6-11.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I could see the Cardinals or the Panthers. Most likely the Panthers because path of least resistance.
Yeah, the Panthers one scares me just because I feel like Atlanta is actually gonna be good this year.
So. I hope so. I just hope.
Yeah.
My whole thing is I want to see at least one great team in a division, in each division.
Yeah, no, yeah. Well, yeah, because like that's like when you get those 9-8 teams, but then you got other divisions where I'm like, dang, you're gonna miss the playoffs at 10 wins, 11 wins.
Yeah, man, that's
so. Yeah, it's
like
tough. The Arizona one's interesting though, because that division is just, I mean,
it's a hell division.
The Niners are a monster. I think the Rams are going to be good this year. Like, and then Seahawks, I think, are going to be kind of just solid. Like they're going to be good.
Dude, the Seahawks are a team that's always going to play you.
Exactly.
You rarely. I don't know how many times they get blown out, but it's hard to blow
often.
Anybody out in the NFL. But
yeah,
they're a team that's always in.
They're in games.
They could take the top off the defense. They could pound the rock.
Yeah.
They could stop you from scoring. Like they got a lot of pieces.
Yeah. So, okay. So you said you got Cardinals and Panthers. So both NFC. Yeah. So my two, I think the Bengals one is one that I could see.
Yeah, they went 9-8.
Barring Joe Burrow. Yeah, barring Joe Burrow. So I'm like, that one I'm kind of like, it's almost like a throwaway. Joe Burrow was hurt last year. He's coming back. If he's healthy, I could see them winning.
Mm-hmm.
So the two that I think are interesting, and actually one of them, I thought the Bears. I could see the Bears winning that division.
Yeah.
7 wins. You had more weapons. You had Caleb. That was one where I was actually like, do they make the Super Bowl? Just because like it would take a lot. Niners injuries, Eagles collapse. But then after those two teams, I mean,
it's possible.
Bears, Lions, Packers, I have them all kind of there.
Yeah, the NFC North I think is very even, and let's say the Eagles play the Niners before the Bears get a chance to play either one of them. You gotta beat one. You gotta beat one.
Exactly. All you need is a good day.
Yeah, it's just a good day.
So, and then here's my other one, and this is where I was saying, so Coach of the Year. I would go D'Amico because I think the Texans are also going to have a great year. Mm-hmm. But my sleeper pick on the Coach of the Year, and this goes with my worst to first team, and it hurts me to say it, the Commanders. Man, look, Dallas, I don't know what they're doing. Look, I don't know what they're doing.
Okay, well, let me, if that happens,
okay,
you and Dylan are sad this year. Because that means
I'm
the Eagles
hurt.
didn't play. The Eagles just absolutely flopped. You guys are pissed in the group chat, arguing.
Oh yeah, no. Every week, me and Dylan are arguing in the group chat every week,
which didn't make sense to me. I've been watching. I've been looking at the group chat. You and Dylan arguing. I'm like, they're fans of the same team.
Yeah, we're fans of the same team with wildly different outlooks on it.
Oh my god, that would be bad.
So, man, but that's the thing is like. The Cowboys, I don't know what they're doing. The Giants, Daniel Jones is their quarterback, so they're not even a football team. And then the Eagles, like I said, you have that like issues with Sirianni and Hurts. Like, how does that dynamic play out the rest of the year? You lose Kelsey. How does that hurt our offensive line? What does our offensive look like now? Because now Hurts is calling out all the protections that Kelsey used to call out.
Mm-hmm.
Then you also got that like. Obviously Saquon's there, but like he's always kind of an injury risk.
Mm-hmm.
So I could just see, again, in a world where I'm not predicting this at all. I think the Eagles win the division, but I realistically see a bad year for the Eagles, especially because, and I was funny you say Dylan. I was talking to Dylan about this last night.
Mm-hmm.
Is you end the season the way you do, right? You have the terrible end of the stretch of the regular season. You go into a playoff game, and it looks like you quit in the first quarter. And so then we don't play any starters in the preseason.
Right.
Which, like, if you're like the Niners, the Chiefs, and you don't play your starters, I'm like, all right, you guys are good. Like, why do you need to? The Eagles, I'm like, yo, we need to get some continuity going. Like, we lost our center. We had a bad end of the year. Like, let's get something rolling going into week 1. And so I'm looking at it like, okay, you come into week 1, offense hasn't played together. Look rusty, you lose that to the Packers.
Yep.
And then it's like there's a couple tough games we got in the first 5 weeks. So that's where I'm like, is there a an alternate universe where the Eagles don't play well, the Cowboys are doing the weird stuff, and the Commanders, who have a last place schedule.
That's true. Because I'm like, the Eagles got they got the Packers first. That's a tough one. And then the Falcons, which it's hard to tell right now. Then you got the Saints, which you should win. Bucks, that's a win. Be a tough one. Let me look at. Hold on.
And that's what I'm saying. Like the Commanders, I think I went through the Commanders' schedule, and I saw I could realistically see them winning 11 games.
Oh yeah, oh boy. So they got the Bucks, which is a winnable game. The Giants, Bengals.
You should win 2 against the Giants.
Yeah. Cardinals week 4, Browns, Ravens.
Ravens is going to be a tough one.
Yeah, it's not ridiculous to see them go 5-1.
That's what I'm saying.
4-2 to start the year.
Yeah.
I mean, but then we're also putting a lot on Jaden Daniels, who hasn't played a meaningful snap.
No, absolutely.
Yet. But we'll absolutely.
See. But that's the one I could see. And so then Dark Horse Coach of the Year, Dan Quinn. First year in Washington.
What a redemption story, man.
Man.
I just want.
Can you believe it?
I hope he's good, dog. I hope he's
good. I'm never a fan of defensive coaches as head coaches. But, he did his thing, so.
Yeah. I could see
Wish
it.
him the best.
Could totally see it. I could totally
but yeah,
see
so
it.
That's my my little sleeper there.
That's a good
And
pick.
like I said, I hope. Look, like you said, me and Dylan are gonna be arguing in the group chat all season long if that does end up happening. But
that's a bad year for you.
Oh, it's a terrible year.
I did not see you coming with anybody in the NFC East.
In the NFC East, I know.
Because that would totally just throw off your whole season.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Fire everybody. I don't want anyone coming back.
Oh my goodness, if the Commanders just take off. But I don't know. I mean, you lose Jahan Dotson and
yeah, the Jahan Dotson thing is weird to me.
Yeah, I liked him. I always pick him up in fantasy.
Me too.
Somehow. Like,
yeah, no,
good receiver.
I like him a lot. And yeah, it's just in division is just crazy to me. With the rookie QB, I'm like, you kind of want to give him all the help you can.
Yeah, I don't understand that at all.
Yeah, so but that's my again, I hope it doesn't come true, but that's my hot take. Clip it.
It's not ridiculous. I'm clipping it right now.
But all right, and so I got one other one that you don't have, and then we'll get into both of our teams, even though we've kind of talked throughout the pod about them. But
yeah,
I'm going to take Marvin Harrison out because I think he's going to be insane. I'm guessing you probably think he's going to be insane with Kyler. Give me a rookie wide receiver that you're like, I'm trying to watch them play this year.
Roma Dunze.
Okay.
Roma Dunze. I mean, going back to me being able to watch some of those games at Washington last year. I mean, dude, there's something really special about the receivers that can get open and get the ball in their hands on man coverage, special. And then there's another layer where their contested catch rating. And I've yet to see a receiver in this class where their contested catch rating is so high to where it's like that translates. There's a lot of things
Yeah.
as a receiver that may or may not translate to the next level. Beating man coverage directly translates to the NFL.
Translates every day.
It doesn't matter. And this dude wins. Like it was insane to watch some of the games that he had to where it's like Penix threw it knowing that it's one-on-one. Sometimes the safety's late to get over.
Mm-hmm.
And he just wins. Like it's insane, and it's very consistent. So to watch him, to be able to go to a receiving core that has the talent that he has, to where he can't get keyed on, film is going to come late because he's a rookie. You got Keenan Allen who can move the chains. He can be the technician. You got DJ Moore who's also a technician. And then you have Rome Odunze who can absolutely take the top off the defense. And if you put your second or third corner on him, it might get dark real quick.
Yeah.
Really
scary
quick.
Hours.
So he's one that I'm really excited to see because just to watch some of the crazy things that he was doing against man coverage, I was like, that translates. Same with Marv. Marv was the same exact way. You put man coverage on him, it was torched.
Yeah, you can't.
At all. But obviously people are going to say, "Oh, man, there were times where he got defended." For sure, that's football. But he's winning.
He's playing guys.
Yeah, these dudes get paid too, but he's winning consistently at a high clip.
Yeah, no, I love the Odunze pick. The thing that scares me with him is kind of what you were saying: is that receiver room is big.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think same thing. Whereas, like, I think by the end of the year, I think he's got the talent where he's going to be wide receiver one on that team.
Yeah.
And
something's to be said about chemistry you develop. And a lot of the clips that I'm seeing, it looks like they have a really, really good chemistry. And that matters. I mean, people may or may not think it matters, but like, it does. If a quarterback trusts you to be where you're going to be to win, you're getting looks when it matters.
Yeah. So I love Odunze, like you said, because I think out the gate, he's going to get the second or third best corners of the other team. And then by the time he's getting the best corners on the other team, I think we're 10 weeks in and he's like, oh no, I'm here.
Yeah. It's I think he's going to make a big splash early because there is not much tape on him yet.
Yeah. And then the other one, you actually mentioned him earlier, is Xavier Worthy for me. Because one, I mean, the speed is crazy. And I think the Chiefs, like you said, this preseason, they've shown like we're going to try to get him involved and we're going to try to get the ball in his hands. And with that speed, I think he's going to be electric as long as he stays healthy.
So I used to pick on him in fantasy.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? He was sitting down there and I was like, are you kidding?
Yeah. You want to know what's crazy? I was going to grab him the next pick.
Dude, you had to. Like, he was sitting down there. I don't even know when I drafted him. It was later rounds for sure.
Yeah, it was late. The value was just there, and I'm like I said, I think he's going to be, especially because I think they ease Kelsey off some this year to make sure he's fresh for the playoffs.
I thought he was retiring. I really did at the
with
end
his
of the
brother.
Year. I really did. I had a feeling that he might retire.
You know what? I think he might have. I think he might have if it wasn't for the three-peat chance.
Potentially. Because it was like the perfect storm. I mean, he's got the girl, he's got the fame, he won the titles, he's got the stats. It's probably the three-peat. That's it's got to be the
three-peat. And I think with one more playoff, there's a couple more of like Jerry Rice's playoff records that he doesn't have yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, as far as like everything else, like you said, like even without those other couple records, like his playoff stats are crazy. Top of the board across tight ends and receivers. His regular season stats are insane. Like he's got nothing to prove.
Mm-hmm.
But that three-peat, I mean, that's the thing I think is you got that chance at, history.
Yeah, which I completely understand. Now, hot take, I think if they do it, I think honestly, hotter take, win or loss this year, I think he's done.
You think so? Doesn't come for the four-peat?
No, I'm not going through training camp again to go for a
Haven't seen that
four-peat.
since Bill Russell, man.
Yeah, I'm good off that.
No, I could see it because I mean, you saw it last year that you know got the ankle injury and just
Mm-hmm.
looked a little old the rest of the year
Yeah,
until the
man.
playoffs.
Exactly. Turn back the clock a little bit, which is what the old vets do.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, I think it's but yeah, I think Xavier Worthy is I think he's going to be fun to watch this year, especially with
That
Reed and
scheme.
Mahomes. Yeah, cuz Reed always finds a way to get the ball in those guys' hands,
Yep.
whether it's like on those little like sweeps or whatever, like he
Yeah,
makes
those
an effort to do that. So,
pre-motions. Yeah,
yeah.
he's gonna be fun.
So, yeah. All right. So, last thing, let's talk about your Pats first, man. So, one, I mean,
Why?
what's going? Yeah. Well, because it's your team, So
Yeah,
we got
man.
to. You're on. We got to talk about your team.
Man,
So
I like what they're doing from a culture standpoint. Like,
okay,
I
you like
like
the
that.
Mayo hire?
Yeah, man, I like that whole thing is run like a AAU squad. You got Gerard Mayo. Didn't they bring back Dante Hightower? Like, just
Mm-hmm.
get Brewski, Edelman, get Gronk on the coaching staff, and man, let's just run it like we're playing Sunday league flag football, dog. Like, let me see
Oh
all
my
that.
gosh.
But no, seriously, I think that I wasn't a fan of the Drake May pick. I wasn't a
Okay.
fan. It's well documented in our friend group chat that I was
Yep.
not a fan of the Mac Jones pick.
Yeah.
It's and watching Joe Milton, I think that a lot of people, if you tie it back to I think we should look at the all 22 and a little bit more cameras to see. Everybody's talking about the plays that Joe's making with his legs and stuff, and I'm like, I want to see if he missed reads because
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we didn't draw up a 3-step hitch into a schoolyard bullshit 10-yard scramble. Like, I don't know if he's reading the field.
Yeah.
And then I watched some of his highlights in like the preseason. A lot of it is him making plays with his legs. And I'm like, can he read a defense? And there's something to be
Well,
said about the fact that he's not even in the mention of
yeah. Well,
playing.
and I think that with those quarterbacks who can run, that's always kind of the default, especially young ones. It's like first read's not there, man. I'm
Yeah.
out of here.
Yeah, because those defenses are like, okay, I'm breaking the huddle and I'm looking. I was like, all right, I think I got to cover 4, and all of a sudden it's a 0 blitz, and you're
Yeah.
like, what?
It cooked.
You have no idea what you're looking at. So
Yeah.
I think
So
I'm excited. I was excited for Joe, but not so much anymore.
okay.
Jacoby, we know what we're getting out of Jacoby. Drake May, well, he's got all the intangibles. He's got a rocket arm, and he get play some football, dog.
Okay. Okay. So that was my question because I'm like, I wasn't high on the Drake May pick for you guys. I honestly thought you guys should have traded back and shot for a
For who?
quarterback this year. Well, you had some teams behind you that were trying to move up to get a QB. I mean, that was my thought at least. I was like, I think that would have been the smart play because that's what you guys have done for years.
And I'm off. Listen. I went back. I don't know how long ago this was, but
Oh,
I went
yeah.
back and I looked up our drafts since like 2015, and it was abysmal. Like
Yep.
any other GM or head coach that had that draft record would have been fired really
Yeah.
quickly. It was nasty work. It was really gross. So
Yeah.
to see us sit and make a pick, I was like, okay, cool. I'm fine with that.
Okay.
I would have loved to just throw us in there and try and go for a big name. I really wanted to make some shit shake and get Jaden. Bad.
Man. Yeah. No, I
We
mean,
had
if y'all
no
could have got
trade
Jaden,
capital.
I think, yeah, no. But
Nobody wants our guys.
yeah, nah. But so tell me then, because I wasn't a fan of Drake May, but then preseason came around and I saw some throws and I was like, okay, maybe he can play. Are you still same on
Dylan
him
texted me the
or
same. Yeah, nah. Dylan texted me the same thing. He's like,
still
Drake May
out?
might be the guy, and I'm like, no, he's not.
Okay.
Yeah,
This
I
said,
don't. I
nah,
don't know.
not even.
I don't think so. I think
Okay.
let's win 6, 7 games. Let's go get one of these studs coming out next year.
Man,
It's
look,
it's gonna be tough, but
that's what I was like. That's why I thought like this year was the perfect year with where you guys were at. Trade back, play Jacoby, win 4 games, get a top 2 pick,
yeah,
and then now you're because coming into this year, I don't think there's going to be any teams outside of the Giants and the Raiders that are going to be as bad as you guys that need quarterbacks. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
the Steelers are going to need a quarterback, but they're not going to
Yeah.
lose enough to get a top pick. You know what I mean? Like you guys are almost guaranteed a top 2 to 3 pick.
And I love our receiver. I love what we did at receiver. Polk
That's what I'm
and
saying.
Baker. I love that.
Yeah.
If we could suck enough to get Quinn, we can suck enough to
Okay,
Quinn
so
Ewers, high on Quinn Ewers. High.
okay, so that was
very
gonna be my
high.
question. Who if you had your choice, any QB coming out the draft this year?
Let me
You guys never draft Drake May. Who is it?
Oh, we never draft Drake May. All right, let me look at
Like
this.
so yeah,
mock
so
real
you're
quick.
coming into this year, you have the number 1 pick in this coming year's draft.
Listen. He's probably doing great things right now.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe let's see it over the course of the year. I'm not picking Shadur.
Okay.
Does Quinn come out next year?
Yeah, I think Quinn comes out, Shadur comes out, and then the kid from Georgia that everybody's super high on.
No.
Which I'm not high on.
Yeah. Beck is his name?
Yeah, Beck,
No.
yeah.
No. I mean, he's doing great things, but I just
I feel like the Georgia quarterback is now getting that like Ohio State, Alabama quarterback treatment. At least from me, where I'm just like, you have so much talent that I can't trust what I'm seeing.
No, that's smart. I'm if Quinn comes out, I'm really wanting to take Quinn. Because I was high on him, like not high on him, but I was watching where he was going out of high school. Same that I did with Amon Ra over at Modern Day. I was like, this kid's gonna be something special, even though he's a little undersized. He's really, really nice. And even like when USC underperformed, I was like, he's still going crazy. I'm pretty high on Quinn Ewers right now, and if we can somehow find a way to grab him, I'd be happy.
Okay.
Happy.
Obviously we're living in a fantasy because no chance y'all move off Drake May after 1 year.
I know. Because, the mock drafts have us right now grabbing James Pierce from Tennessee, and they have Quinn going 3 to the Giants, which, dude.
I mean, puts him in my division, which might mean Malik Neighbors stays.
True. You got a gunslinger. You got somebody
and he's gonna throw it
in the rock. Yeah, that would be dope. And then they have Shadur going to Vegas right now.
You know what? He seems like a Vegas quarterback, though.
Yeah, man.
It just fits.
It does. I think that will work. Yeah, man. Him and AP.
Yeah.
Man, yeah.
Man. So, anyways, but going back to it, so New England, right? Drake May, obviously Jacoby was named the starter.
Yeah.
But you also had Jerron Mayo 2 weeks ago come out saying Drake May has outperformed him.
I was curious to see, like, how much of that is, like, first-time head coach got caught.
Making a mistake at the mic.
Saying something he kind of regretted immediately because he didn't make the decision on who was starting yet. I wonder if that had anything to do with it. I don't know. Because it's like, why would you say that?
Yeah, it makes no sense. Especially if it's like, it'd be different too, I think, if he says it and then, like last week when he named Jacoby the starter, he named Drake May the starter instead. It would make sense. It's like, he's outperformed him the whole offseason. Next week, he's our starter going into week 1. Like, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. But the fact's like, he outperformed him, but we're going with the other guy.
Yeah, because then it's like, hold on. Why? Did he ever?
Yeah.
I don't know if he answered why.
Yeah, so what's your thoughts on it? Head coach for a day, you putting Drake May in there, or are you sticking with Jacoby as the starter? Who are you starting week 1?
Well, if I'm the head coach, I'm going up to Robert Kraft's office and be like, "What do you want me to do?" So I have job security.
So I keep my job.
Yeah, because I'd be like, "What do you need me to do so I can have job security?" And listen, let me float this idea by you about drafting Quinn Ewers next year. That's what I'm doing.
Okay,
if I'm head coach for a day.
Okay, so. If
I'm not worried about getting fired.
Yeah, exactly. Not worried about getting fired.
Joe Milton, get in there, dog. And then sling that pill, man. You see how loud everybody gets when he gets in the game?
Yeah, I feel like he's like the underdog guy, like right,
Yeah,
like
man.
it's like yeah, like we gotta root for him because like
Yeah, if he's gonna make a
we're
mistake, make it
Northeast,
big. Yeah, yeah, man. I
we're
want to see him go.
Northeast.
I want to see him go out there, call slants, and just in hot route to a 9 and just chuck it, huck it, dog.
Oh my gosh,
Put
no,
some
I
butts
mean,
in seats.
hey, look, I don't hate it. I personally, so if I'm the Pats, right, or if I'm the head coach, right, I throw Drake May out there, throw him to the Wolves because I got to
Mhm.
know
Yeah.
because like you said, you're gonna have a bad team this year. If I need to do like an Arizona Cardinals when they had drafted what's his name before Kyler,
Oh boy, Josh Rosen.
yeah, and had him for a year, got rid of him because they were like, nope, not the
Poop.
guy.
Yeah.
Draft Kyler. Like I'd rather do that than some of these teams you sit there and it's like, okay, we're going on. It's just like Daniel Jones hasn't shown me anything, and it's like, yeah, we got to make a decision. Well, give him the contract,
Yeah,
and it's
that
like,
was bad. Yeah.
and even if they didn't give him the contract, like I know if by 2-3 years you don't know, then you need to be fired as a
Yeah.
GM coach. Like you should know within the first year if it's like, okay, he can play, he might not be it right now, but like projecting out, I can see it. Or you should be able to, on the flip side, see, yeah, no, he's not the guy. We got it. We're in the quarterback market again in this draft.
I'm confused in how it lasts. It makes me wonder what's going on behind closed doors, to where it's like, what is happening here? How did he get the money? How is
Yeah,
he still here? Like, who was
talk
making
about
those
Daniel.
decisions? Yeah, who was
Man,
making
that
those
thing.
decisions?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you. I mean, I love it. It
Right.
basically takes a team out of our division.
And then if the mock drafts are going Quinn Ewers at 3 to the Giants, I'm
Yeah.
just so confused at the decision makings that.
Well, that and then it comes out like he gets his contract, and then it comes out like a month later. They're like, yeah, the building was split on giving it to him, and I'm like,
So we give it to him? Well,
so yeah, so why did you decide to give it? Exactly, why did you sign him then? If you have half your building that's like, no, not the guy.
yeah,
One, I'm
was there a
like,
time limit or something? Could we just talk about
yeah,
it a
no.
little bit more?
First, I'm
It's
like,
confusing.
whoever the person was who was like, we're doing it. My office, you're fired. You're fired
Yeah, that's bad
immediately now. Like you're out of here. But yeah, I'm like, it just, yeah, the Daniel Jones thing doesn't make any sense. Like,
at all.
because clearly, I think everybody knew after year two, they're like, nah, he
He ain't
he's
it.
not it.
He ain't it.
So yeah, like that's my thing with the Pats though, man. I'm like, if I'm them, get Drake May in there, see what he looks like, because then you know,
Yeah,
and you're not doing this whole like 3 years of quarterback in the desert
and
like
you're
some of
kind of
them do.
handcuffed. You're kind of handcuffed if you don't play him at all this year, and then you know for sure you can't draft. You're not going to draft a quarterback next year.
Exactly.
Maybe not for sure, but it's less likely than if he plays half the year.
Yeah. Exactly. Because then at least you'll have some film. You'll know he doesn't play at all. It's like, how do you justify drafting a quarterback again with the top pick?
Right now, you got a QB room of 2 second-year guys and a rookie.
Yeah. Like it just, yeah. So I don't know. Y'all, but I mean, y'all went from like the prestige, like we need to be like the Pats organization to
That's
now I'm like, dog, what are they doing?
this is how the league expected it to be in those 2010s to
Mm-hmm.
2019. That's how they expected it to be, because time with cap space and luxury taxes and all those things, like it's not designed to maintain dynasties. So teams
Mm-hmm.
like the the Patriots and the Chiefs that have these runs, it's not normal. And
Yeah, no.
when it comes to really what killed us is losing those picks when Brady got suspended. If you go
Mm-hmm.
back and look at the drafts that we lost those picks because of the suspension and then Brady leaving, that that was the equivalent, and it's probably a stretch, but that felt like the equivalent of the SMU death penalty, the USC death
Yeah.
penalty. Like it just put us back so far. And
Well,
then
yeah.
missing on those drafts when we did have picks. I mean, you're seeing it now.
Well, yeah, because the NFL, I mean, it's like that's one of the like dope things about the NFL is one, I mean, the amount of roster spots you guys got, but like the NBA, right? Like you've got 5, 6 picks in the first, second, and both rounds. It's like are even gonna like make an impact, right? In the NBA, dude, the NFL, like you got dudes in the 7th round, 6th round, like all
Undrafted
over
gonna
the
come in
draft,
and yeah.
undrafted that like they come in and they're impact players immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, missing on those, it's tough. And then losing those draft picks, it's tough.
Yeah.
And
So
then now
you're
y'all,
seeing the residual of that.
well, yeah, and then you guys got Kraft's son's like best friend is your GM now.
Telling you, man, look at that, dude. It's like a flag football team. We're playing Pop Warner over here.
So
Snoop,
just bring the
Snoop's
family all
Snoop's,
in.
yeah, you got Snoop Steelers, man. Richmond Steelers or whatever.
Oh
Man.
man, so yeah, y'all. Here, the good thing is if Drake May ends up being the guy that you don't think he is,
Yeah.
it's you guys are going to be all right because as long as you
Sure.
can hit on the quarterback, you should be all right.
Yeah, because our defense is not bad.
No,
Historically, not bad. And
and like,
we get Christian Gonzalez back after that injury.
mm-hmm.
Great cornerback. We did lose Judon, but we have not had a bad defense. Our defense has kept us in games where we should have been blown out.
Oh yeah,
So,
and like you said, you added some good receivers this
super high on
offseason.
those
Like,
receivers.
yeah, so if May ends up being who they think he is, y'all should be good, and you guys, at least be like viable, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you might not be winning, but you'll be viable. It won't be like, oh god, we played today.
Yeah, that's what it was last year.
Yeah. So switching over, we talked about. So we'll go my team now, Eagles. We've talked about it some, but I've talked about it a good bit as far as like the preseason Sirianni Hurts relationship. What do you think about the whole Sirianni Hurts? Can't be in the same room together.
Has
The
all that been
whole
confirmed?
yeah, apparently, like I don't. It was a writer for the Eagles,
Yeah.
if I remember right, who came out with this, and like it's not like he's got a history of like being locked in, right? And my biggest thing is I'm like, when you end your thing with like, yeah, they're working on it, they don't hate each other. I'm like, yo, I mean,
if it's true, it's
that's not great.
Sign. Yeah, if it's true, it's not a good sign. At the end of the day, they're professionals, so they'll be able to do the work. I wouldn't be too worried about it because Hurts is a very like super professional guy. Sirianni's there to do a job. I think that, I mean, if you pop it back to the Pats, there was at the end of Tom's run, there was friction, and there was reports of friction for a while, but championship. So I'm not too worried about
that's the difference.
On-field success. I do think if they hit a skid, start to lose, it could get a little nasty. But as long as they continue to play well, you're not going to hear much. Because when they were playing well, we weren't hearing shit.
Nope.
So
it didn't. But that's the thing though, is like and that was going back to me and Dylan's arguments in our group text about us liking the same team. That was my big thing. Like last year, it's like I don't think they played well at all the whole year.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
Like it was like you're winning ugly, and it's like, yeah, winning ugly is great on every once in a while when you come out, you're a little slow, a little lethargic, but like it can't be every week. Like that's a problem.
Can't be every week. And it did look like there was some schematic issues with the offense at times.
Man, our offense and our defense, at every time I looked at it, I'm like, this is elementary level.
Yeah, it looked a little wonky. I'm not in those meetings. I don't know the game plan or anything like that. But it did, from like a fan's perspective, I was like, odd. Okay.
So then let me float this one to you. Obviously, different position. You didn't play quarterback, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I know from firsthand knowledge, we won't put names out there, right? But you've had coaches on your football team that you didn't see eye to eye with, let's say, right?
Yeah.
So obviously, I mean, wide receiver coach, probably way different. But like, how does that change like on the field, right? Like, does it? Do you, or is it just like, man, I hit the field and it doesn't matter. I'm listening to the OC and
Yeah,
forget that dude.
oh man, it's a good question. So once you hit the field to start the game, I'm thinking about the job I got to do.
Yeah.
When stuff starts to snowball, or let's say your head coach has, if they have control of the offense, you can
Mm-hmm.
it can kind of get in your head about some certain decisions that are being made, and then after you do a lot of reflecting on the game, what could we have done? What could I have done different?
Yeah.
And that's kind of where resentment will start to build, where it's like over
Mm-hmm.
the course of weeks, if the things aren't getting ironed out or changed, it can get a little funky. But at the NFL level, there's so many hands in the pot.
Yeah.
It's hard to like alienate one person or one guy, one coach. It can,
Mm-hmm.
if the report that I heard was that some of the players weren't really vibing with Sirianni's X's and O's, like
Mm-hmm.
his
Yeah.
mental capacity for some of the offensive things, and that's hard because once players lose trust in your ability to call plays and put them in the right position to win,
Yeah.
it can get funky quick because now
Yeah.
you're out there second guessing, like you get a play call and you're like, man, I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And
Like,
then,
why you got me doing this? Like,
yeah,
yeah.
that's where it can get. If you don't have the trust that they're putting you in the best position to succeed, yeah, it's not
Yeah.
good. And we will see that. Like, trust me, these media outlets and stuff, for every bad play that happens on the Eagles, it's going to be right at
Yep.
Sirianni,
Zoomed right
right
in on
after,
Hurts and Sirianni.
or right after, because
Yep.
you'll see it by halftime of week one.
Yep. No, I agree. And then one other question for you, and then we'll wrap up here. But so the loss of Kelsey, right? We talked about it earlier. Kelsey's the one who called all the protections.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, there was a viral clip literally last year of Hurts calling the protection. Kelsey looks back and goes, "Nah, this one, like this
Yeah,
is who we need to block." Like, so obviously now Hurts is taking all that responsibility. What does that look like going from like I don't have to make those calls to okay, now I'm the only one who can make those calls?
it's huge. It's the first thing you, maybe not the first thing you do, it's the first thing you set when you break the huddle is you set your
Mm-hmm.
protection, and to not have to worry about that and trust that it's taken care of, and then you fast forward to having to do that every single rip while
Yeah,
you're making your pre-snap reads, while you're understanding if you're going to kill the play or stick with it. Like, it's a lot. It's a lot of
yeah,
and now he's been working on it all off season. It's not
yeah.
something, I mean, he knew about this at the end of last season. So I don't I don't foresee it being a huge deal, but it's something to look at within the first couple of weeks
Yeah.
of the season to understand, like, how many times is Hurts getting pressured, how many times are we,
Mm-hmm.
whiffing protections. It's something to look at for sure.
Okay.
If we're getting 3 weeks down the road and Hurts is top 10 hurries and pressures, it's something to be like, take a look at it.
Yeah.
But I don't foresee it being a huge deal because he's had so much
Okay.
time to prepare for it. Because quarterbacks, as soon as they get to the league, some schemes in college you're setting your protection, but most of the time you're not. But as soon as you get to the leagues, you're drilled on protection.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's the big thing. Like, it'd be different where if like Kelsey was calling the protections, but like Hurts had been involved in it, right?
I'm
But like
sure
the
he was.
reporting that
I'm sure.
no,
Not even
that's what
in
I'm
the
saying.
meetings.
The reporting that came out was that when he came in, he asked Sirianni, he was like, "Hey, I want to like learn all this," and Sirianni was like, "You don't need to worry about it."
And that's not setting him up for success.
Exactly, man.
Especially
Like,
if that rubbed Hurts the wrong way. If he felt like, dude, I need to
and
learn this, and he wasn't allowed
he's
to.
and that's what he did. He said like he was saying that like he's like, I want to learn those things, but I'm being told like, no, it's fine. And I'm like, man, like that's again, it's going back to that whole like Hurts Sirianni dynamic where I'm just like,
Yeah,
man, it's
it's
tough.
one way to lose trust
Yeah.
from your player.
So, but anyways, man, any last thoughts on the season this year? Or?
Man, it's going to be a fun one. And looking at mock drafts coming out, there's actually going to be a lot of good talent. But I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited. And if your prediction with the Commanders comes true, that is going to be hilarious.
Yeah, we're gonna hope it doesn't, man. But like I said,
You got me
it's
excited.
something I can see. Yeah. No, man. Look, I think I totally agree. I think the NFL season is gonna be great this year. As somebody who like has only recently really like started diving into football, like I'm excited.
Yeah,
And that's
it's gonna be a
not
good
something I've had before with football. So I think it's gonna be a good year.
Hell
But
yeah.
all right, man, we're gonna have to get you on again. Maybe basketball season or like mid-season football, a little bit of both.
Yeah, man. Let me know.
But yeah, no, man, I appreciate you. Appreciate you hanging out, drinking some Topo Chicos.
You already know.
All right, man. Good seeing you, fam. We'll talk.
Yep, later.